Hello and welcome to the channel. This is No Limits Health and Wellness. My name is Graham, and this video is going to be a short one. I'm just doing a quick tutorial on how to shoot back or how to fly or float back into your low plank. Sometimes in our yoga practices, we'll enter high to low plank in different ways. Very commonly, people will bring their hands to the floor and step 1 foot back at a time to lower down and flow through their up dog and down dog. Sometimes people will bring their hands to their floor and shoot back directly into low plank by inviting the bend into the elbows when the feet lift up off the floor and drop directly back into low plank and pull the chest through. And the variation of that's been requested today is just a little spicier version of that shoot back, which involves a little bit more hang time, or you could call it float, but I don't want to call it anything that it isn't. I feel like Woody in Toy Story. I don't know if you've ever seen the original one, but there's a part in the movie where Buzz Lightyear comes onto the scene and starts boasting about how he is a real spaceman and he can fly, and he does his demonstration of a flight. You have to see it. It's one of those things. But Woody rebuttals and says, that's not flying. That's falling with style. And that's basically what this is. We're just spicing it up, adding some flair to our descent down. We're not floating. We're not flying. We're just coming down to the support of the earth with style. So what it looks like is bringing the hands to the floor. The weight comes into the fingertips. The lungs expand as you invite the air in to make you light. The navel hugs in to support the low back and create that lifting sensation in the core, in the hips as you... Actually, I wasn't thinking there. I was shooting back. We're doing the float back. Okay, so slowing that down a little bit. Bring the hands down, weight into the hands. As the feet lift up, you can pull the knees in towards your chest. Create a little bit of a lift, and then slowly extend the legs. Okay, so how do we progress to that? I'm going to tell you how I did it, what my journey was like. So it all started with crow pose for me, getting a strong crow pose. And in the studio that I discovered yoga and spent my first year learning there, we were often encouraged to hold crow for as long as we could and then to shoot back from crow. So if crow is currently not in your practice, I would encourage you to start practicing crow and get it as strong as you can. If it's not in your practice already, you can comment on this video, ask me to break down crow, and I'll meet you where you're at. But for anyone watching this video and looking to get that float into the practice, I would say crow is a prerequisite, and we want to make it feel as easy and as light as we possibly can. So when we are in crow pose, we want to avoid letting ourselves sink down, okay? If you're getting bruises on your triceps, it means there is not enough support and engagement in the core to be lifting the hips up. So instead of allowing the shoulders to collapse and the hips to be heavy, we want to keep pushing the floor away to get that protraction in the shoulders. We want to hug the navel in and pull the belly button towards the spine and create that lift, pulling the hips towards the sky. Ultimately, you want to feel so light that those knees might actually come up off of the elbows. Okay. So once you get your crow nice and strong, once you feel once you feel light and like you're flying, I tried to say that sentence in one word, you can then begin to float back or shoot back from crow. So finding that comfortable crow position, okay? Maybe the knees are on the outside, hugging in. Maybe they're right up in the armpits. Wherever you're feeling the comfort and the support, you're gonna stay there. And then your first shoot back from crow might be very fast as you explode back, okay? And ultimately, you're going to work on making it a little bit slower. And then slowing it down as much as you can. And it is a balancing act. The more weight that you bring forward, the easier it's going to be. Okay. And another thing that we can do to attack this goal and to build strength in multiple directions is to float forwards from down dog into your crow, as opposed to shooting back into low plank. So from your down dog, almost like if we were going to be floating to the front of the mat, which I typically cue in my yoga practices online here. You can float forward like that. Instead of that, we're going to bring the knees to the elbows or the outside of the triceps. So again, we want to keep breath working with us. Breathe into the lungs. Allow the lungs and the chest to expand as we breathe in, and always keep that core tight. As you push the air out, feel the navel hug in and keep that engagement. As the lungs expand, the core stays strong and tight. So, from our down dog, breathe into the lungs, feel them expand. You get lighter. As you exhale, you bend the knees, pushing the air out, and you keep that navel hugging in, the core tight as you float forward into your crow, heels pulling towards your bum, hip flexors and abs all active, and then keeping the core tight, you float back. Okay, so if you're doing that, you're one step closer to that float back. Because right now we're basically doing it from a perch, right? We have our knees up on our elbows, but when we are going through our vinyasa from the front of our mat, maybe we're doing extended mountain pose, maybe we do forward fold and a halfway lift, and then the yoga teacher cues high to low plank. We're not going to bring ourselves into crow and then shoot back. We're going to try to keep it as seamless as possible. Reach the hands up, fold forward. We'll take a halfway lift. And what we need to learn to float back is basically crow, but without the support of the elbows and the triceps. So what's this called? I don't know what it's called in English. I know that in Sanskrit, the pose is called Lalasana. But if you practice calisthenics or any sort of body weight strength training, you may have heard of planche position. And so this is kind of like a tuck planche. So as we bring our hands onto the floor, we're going to make ourselves nice and small, walking our feet up towards the wrists. And instead of bringing the knees to the triceps or into the armpits, we're going to bring the knees up in towards the chest, okay? And we're going to bring the weight into the fingertips, lifting up the heels and coming onto the toes. And from here, you want to bring as much weight forward so that the back half gets light and floats up. Off of the mat, pull the heels towards your bum. So that is the Lalasana or tuck planche. And you can work on that, getting it as strong as you can, getting as much of the bend out of your elbows as you can to keep the arms nice and straight. And ultimately, you'll be able to stay there for a bit and then slowly extend the legs and begin your controlled descent down to the earth. and go through your vinyasa. Okay, so I hope that helped to shed some light on a path that is going to help you on this journey. If you're thinking this is not the route, or you're not quite here yet, and you need me to meet you somewhere else, let me know. This is only the second tutorial video that I put out, and that's because it's only the second one that's been requested. So if there's anything you want to know, anything you want to see, or have broken down and explained in further detail, please let me know. I'm here for you. And as you can tell, I'm out of breath. I'm feeling a bit gassed. So this is not, don't want to say it's difficult, but it's not easy. Okay, but don't let that discourage you. Okay, as I'm feeling a bit gassed right now, I'm thinking about when this used to seem impossible to me. And I also think about all the things that I do today with ease that used to be so hard. So remind yourself of how capable you are to learn new things, how strong you are today compared to yesterday. You got this. If you're feeling a little lost or a little insecure, drop a comment, shoot me a DM. I'll meet you where you're at. You got this. I got you. We're stronger together. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching and sticking around to the very end. I'm going to be back in the studio next week to record another full-length yoga practice. I'm drawing it up and putting it all together right now, and I'm really excited for this one. It's going to be different, going to have some new moves and some fun sequences in there, so I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. Until then, you can check out some of these other videos. I'm going to put a link to the last yoga practice I uploaded, a tutorial for pistol and sissy squats, and also a guided meditation. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like and comment on the videos, because every engagement helps to grow the channel. And there's lots more on the website, so check that out if you feel so inclined. But until next time, thank you so much for being here. Keep shining, because that light is felt. Your energy is appreciated.